I'm Ethan, a junior majoring in law at this prestigious Ivy League school in New England, where everyone tries so hard to look perfect, but underneath, we're all carrying scars that don't ever fully fade. I keep up a cool, detached front. Top grades always, but I never show up to the loud parties or crowded hangouts. Why? Because my past won't let me. My father, a violent drunk, taught me early that trust is a luxury I can't afford. Then my high school boyfriend, the guy I thought was my first real love, posted private photos of me online for the whole school to see. My reputation was shredded, and ever since, I've built walls so high no one can get close. Everything changed on a crisp fall afternoon, leaves turning gold across campus. We got paired for a group project on legal ethics, and that's when he showed up, Julian, a freshman pre-med, with a smile that lights up a room and an energy that makes heads turn. He's tall, with messy brown hair that somehow looks effortlessly hot, and eyes that sparkle like they're holding the whole sky. At our first group meeting, Julian pitched his ideas with total enthusiasm, waving his pen around like he was conducting an orchestra. I sat there taking notes on autopilot, trying not to let any emotion slip through. After the meeting, as everyone packed up, Julian turned to me with that smile. "Hey, Ethan, wanna grab coffee? We could dig deeper into the analysis, and I bet you've got some great insights to share." His voice was warm, genuine, but every alarm bell in my head went off. What did he really want? My notes so he could coast to an easy A? Connections to climb the social ladder? I'd seen it all before. Guys who act friendly just to get something, then ghost you the second they do. "Thanks, but I'm busy," I said flatly, grabbing my stuff and walking out without looking back. Deep down, though, I couldn't deny it. For one split second, my heart had skipped a beat because of him. I don't trust people easily anymore. After high school, I built a system, a private syllabus I used to test people's true colors. And Julian, with his bright smile and over-the-top enthusiasm, had officially enrolled. I started small. In the next few group meetings, I dropped little lies about myself. "Yeah, my family's in the suburbs outside New York. Parents both work in finance," I said, even though the truth is my dad's an alcoholic mechanic and my mom walked out years ago. I watched to see if his attitude shifted, if he'd suddenly get friendlier thinking I came from money. But Julian just nodded, smiled, and asked more about the assignment. No digging. Then I stepped it up. I complained about money, how tuition this semester was killing me, how I might have to cut back on coffee to save cash. Classic test. If he looked down on me or pulled away because I wasn't in his league, I'd know. The chance came one late afternoon after we'd been in the library until dark. Julian suggested grabbing a quick bite at the campus diner, the greasy spoon where students hang out, smelling like fries and playing oldies on the jukebox. I agreed. It fit the plan. When the check came, I pretended to pat my pockets and realized I'd left my wallet in my dorm. "Shoot, I forgot my wallet," I said, faking embarrassment while watching his reaction. Julian didn't even blink. He laughed, pulled out his card, and paid for both meals. "No big deal. Get me next time." Then he turned to the counter and ordered an extra warm chocolate brownie. "You look wiped, man. You're always pulling all-nighters. Eat this." He slid the plate in front of me, eyes bright like it was the most normal thing in the world. I took a bite. The chocolate melted perfectly, sweet enough to catch me off guard for a second. But inside, the alarm screamed. Classic move to buy trust. Way too obvious. I mentally filed it away. Paid for dinner plus dessert gift. Suspicion level, 8 out of 10. Probably trying to create obligation. Walking back to the dorms, the chilly New England fall wind cutting through my coat, I stayed quiet beside him. He kept chatting about a funny hospital internship story, cracking up at his own clumsiness. I nodded along, but kept my distance. At a place like this, everyone wears a mask. The pressure of grades, futures, perfection. It makes real trust the rarest thing on campus. Julian might actually be a good guy, or he might just be another test I haven't figured out yet. But I'd keep running the exam until I was sure. Over the next few weeks, We spent almost every evening in the main library, that grand old Gothic building with stained glass windows and the faint smell of old paper. On the surface, it was normal study sessions. Books spread everywhere, laptops open, the soft clack of keys mixed with whispers. For me, though, every night was a battlefield. I turned them into subtle mind games, setting traps to see who he really was. I asked loaded questions about loyalty and ethics, topics our project touched on, but I steered them deeper. If your best friend was cheating on an exam, would you turn them in? Or is keeping someone's secret worth it if it could hurt you? I watched every eyebrow twitch, every pause. Julian always answered straight up, voice warm, eyes locked on mine, like he genuinely believed there was still room for decency in the world. The more I heard, the more uneasy I got because his answers were too perfect. Perfect in a way that felt suspicious. The feelings between us grew quietly, even though I fought them. There were moments when his hand brushed mine passing a paper, or he laughed hard at one of my dry jokes, and my chest tightened. He started bringing 2 coffees, one for me, black, exactly how I like it even though I'd never told him. I drank it, but mentally noted, calculated act of care. Then I decided to raise the stakes. There was an interdisciplinary law pre-med student mixer at the Society House, cheap beer, loud EDM. I knew Julian would go. He loves that kind of thing. I showed up too, but not to party. Earlier, I'd asked Alex, a good-looking classmate who's a natural flirt, to do me a favor. Just flirt with Julian a bit, in front of me. Nothing heavy. Alex smirked, thinking it was just guy banter. I stood in the corner, nursing a beer, watching. Alex moved in easy, laughing, hand lingering on Julian's shoulder, leaning in to whisper something. Julian smiled politely but stepped back, eyes scanning the room, and then they landed on me. Just for a second, but long enough. Afterward, Julian left Alex and walked straight over. No anger, no drama, just hurt in his eyes. Ethan, he said softly, voice barely cutting through the music. Are you trying to push me away? Or are you trying to prove I'm the bad guy? I froze. Every defense I had ready collapsed. I opened my mouth to deny it, to deflect, to stay cool. But nothing came out. Julian didn't wait. He looked at me one more second, eyes so sad it stung, then turned and walked out. I stood there in the middle of the laughing crowd, feeling like the whole world had shrunk to the frantic beat of my own heart. For the first time, I wondered if the walls I'd built were protecting me, or just trapping me. Outside, snow had started to fall, New England winter arriving, and I realized I was shaking, not from the cold. I thought I had everything locked down. My walls were sky-high. My defense system, that damn Syllabus, running perfectly. Until one late fall Saturday when our school's old rival came for a friendly football game. I hadn't planned to go. I hate the noisy crowds, the shouting, the beer-soaked bleachers. But Julian begged me, saying, "Come on, just once, you need to unwind." He grinned, grabbed my hand, dragged me across the leaf-covered campus, and like an idiot I said yes. We sat midway up the stands. Julian was into it, pointing out plays while I just nodded. Then, during halftime, the visiting team came out to wave. And I saw him, my ex, same blonde hair, same smug grin. He was their quarterback now, soaking up the cheers like a star. My heart stopped. Everything blurred. The cheers turned to buzzing in my ears. The cold air clamped around my chest. My throat closed up. Hands shook. Sweat broke out even in the freezing weather. Panic attack. First one in years, hitting hard and merciless. I tried to stand, but my legs wouldn't move. Julian noticed instantly. His face shifted from excited to worried in a flash. Without a word, he wrapped an arm around my shoulders, shielding me from curious stares, and basically carried me out of the stands. He used his body like a barrier as we pushed through the crowd, protecting me from the world. The whole walk back to the dorm, he stayed silent. No, what's wrong? No, tell me. Just held my hand tight, steady steps like it was only us left. When we finally reached the empty top-floor hallway, everyone still at the game, I broke. Why aren't you asking anything? I yelled, voice raw, tears spilling out uncontrollably. Why aren't you laughing at me? Why aren't you calling me weak, pathetic? Show your true colors, Julian. Please, just prove you're like all the rest. I shoved his shoulders, pounded his chest, but he didn't back away. He just looked at me, eyes glistening, then gently pulled me into his arms. He held me, not crushing, just enough for his warmth to seep through my sweater. His hand rubbed slow circles on my back, patient, like calming a scared kid. I don't need you weak or strong, he whispered in my ear, so soft only I could hear. I just need you to be you. I lost it, really cried. Tears I'd buried for years soaked his shirt. I clung to his waist like he'd vanish, face buried in his shoulder, breathing in that familiar scent, soap and coffee, that had become my only safe place. The hallway was quiet except for my sobs and the steady beat of his heart. For the first time in forever, I didn't feel like I had to fight alone. My defense system shattered in his arms. And strangely, I wasn't scared. After that hallway hug, we didn't talk much for a few days. Julian still texted to check in, still brought coffee to the library. But he gave me space, not out of anger, just respect. I was drowning in my own mess. Embarrassed for falling apart in front of him, terrified for letting someone see my weakest side. Then one snowy weekend evening, he knocked on my door. He stood there, coat dusted with fresh snow, eyes steady. We need to talk, he said, calm but firm. I let him in. We sat facing each other on the worn dorm chairs. Me curled up, him sitting straight, hands on his knees. The air was thick. I could hear the wall clock ticking. Ethan, he started, voice low and clear. I know I've been fighting a war I didn't start. You keep testing me, pushing me away, pulling me back. I get that you have reasons, I really do. But I'm not the one who hurt you. Don't make me pay for someone else's mistakes. It hit me like a punch. I wanted to argue, to say I wasn't doing that I was just protecting myself. But no words came, because he was right, completely. He leaned forward, eyes never leaving mine. I like you, Ethan. Have since those first project days. I don't need you perfect or tough all the time. I just want you to let me be with you. For real, not through whatever tests you keep setting. I looked down, fists clenched. Tears welled up again. And this time I didn't fight them. You don't get it, Julian, I whispered. I'm scared, terrified. Every time I let someone close, it falls apart. I don't know how to stop. He stood, knelt in front of me, hands gently on my knees. Then we'll learn together. But you have to start with yourself. The next day, I did something I never thought I would. I booked an appointment at the campus counseling center. The first session was brutal. I sat there telling a middle-aged stranger about my dad, my ex, the photos, the fear of betrayal repeating. I cried, snapped, went silent for long stretches. But she didn't judge, just listened and gently helped me separate real danger from echoes of the past. Over time, the sessions taught me to spot the malware I'd installed in my own head. When I'd doubt Julian just because he smiled at someone else, I'd pause and ask, is this actual evidence? Or an old ghost whispering? When I felt like setting a trap, I'd breathe deep and remind myself, Julian isn't him. I started changing. Small steps, but real. I stopped keeping mental suspicion notes. I paid for both coffees when we went out. I told Julian about therapy, and he listened, no commentary, just holding my hand when I needed it. One evening after a session, I texted him, "Where are you? I want to see you." He replied instantly, "Library, our usual corner." When I got there, he was waiting with headphones in and 2 steaming coffees. I sat across from him, took a deep breath. "You were right," I said. "I was making you pay for someone else's sins. I'm sorry." He smiled, the warmest smile I'd ever seen from him. He reached across the table, laced his fingers with mine. "It's okay," he whispered. "We're just rebooting. Together." Outside the library windows, snow kept falling, but for once, I didn't feel cold. Graduation season arrived faster than I expected. Warm spring days crept across campus. Maple leaves turning fresh green, everyone busy with caps and gowns, senior photos, and toasts to the future. I was different. In my hand was an offer letter from a top New York law firm, dream starting salary, the kind of job any senior would kill for. The excitement lasted seconds before reality hit. I'd be leaving here, leaving New England, leaving Julian. He still had 3 years left in med school. 3 years of long distance, brutal schedules, hospital shifts, and all the temptations of college life I knew too well. This wasn't a pop quiz anymore. This was the final exam, the biggest, hardest, life-defining one. In those last weeks, I fought not to let the old fears resurface. I stopped checking his phone, stopped asking for detailed schedules, stopped accidentally glancing at his social media chats. Those old habits embarrassed me now. Thanks to therapy, I could breathe through the doubts when they crept in. Is this real or just shadows? But I was still scared. So scared that one night, lying in my empty dorm bed, I almost texted, "Are you sure you want to keep this going?" Instead, I asked to meet him one late May afternoon by the little lake on campus, the spot where we'd spent hours studying, where the leaves had fallen red last fall. He was already there, sitting on the old wooden bench in a thin hoodie and faded jeans, skipping pebbles across the water. When I sat beside him, he didn't speak, just reached for my hand and held it. We sat quietly for a while, watching the lake mirror the clear blue sky. "I know you got the New York job," he said first, voice soft. "Yeah." My throat felt dry. "And I know you're scared." I turned to him. He was still looking at the water, but his grip tightened. "I am scared, Julian," I admitted, barely above a whisper. "Scared of the distance, the time apart. Scared that one day you'll meet someone closer, easier. I still hear those old voices saying everything will fall apart. But this time, I'm choosing to trust you more than I trust the fear." He turned to me, eyes shining in the late sunlight. He smiled. Not his usual bright grin, but something gentler, deeper. "I'm scared too," he said. "Scared you'll be lonely in the big city. Scared you'll meet someone smarter, more successful. But I'm choosing to trust you. To trust us." A warm spring breeze carried the smell of fresh-cut grass and rustling leaves. He leaned in, cupped my chin gently. We kissed. Not rushed or intense, just slow and soft, like sealing a promise. His lips were warm, familiar, tasting like the sweetness that had become home. Under the swaying maple branches, on the campus that had seen all my pain and hope, that kiss wasn't the end of a battle. It was the start of real peace. When we pulled apart, foreheads still touching, he whispered, "Call me every night. And weekends, I'll take the train up." I smiled, my first completely unguarded smile in months. "Deal. And I'll come back whenever you need me." The lake sparkled, the spring air felt warm, and I knew that whatever the future held, we'd pass the final test not by controlling everything but by letting go and trusting.